Welcome to this video class. Today I am going to explain about the numerical based on the helical gear. First you should read the problem. A pair of carefully cut class 2 helical gears for a turbine has a transmission ratio of 10 is to 1. The teeth are 20-degree stub, not a stub involute in the normal plane. Pinion has a 25 teeth and rotates at 5000 rpm. Material for pinion and gear is 0.4% carbon steel untreated. Determine the module in normal plane, diametral plane and face width of the gear. Suggest suitable harness. Modulus of velocity may be taken as 210 gigapascal. Helix angle equal to 30 degree. Power transmitted 90 kilowatt. So first you should write the given data. What is the transmission ratio? Transmission ratio is given 10 is to 1, that is a 10. And previous lecture for a spur gear I denoted that 1 denotes a pinion. The 1 denotes pinion, 2 denotes gear. So if you write a pinion means you consider as a 1. If you write a gear means you consider as a 2. Second data given as alpha, that is a pressure angle. Alpha is equal to 20 degree stub, not a stub involute system. Okay, it's not a full depth, it is a stub involute system. Then next data given, pinion has a 25 teeth, that is a Z1. Okay, Z1 is equal to 25 teeth and rotates at, that is N1. N1 is equal to 5000 rpm. And material for pinion and gear, both are having the same material, 0.4% carbon steel untreated. There is a material is also given. Determine the module. So Z1 is equal to 25, N1 is equal to 5000 rpm, alpha is equal to 20 degrees stub involute system, and modulus of elasticity may be taken as a 210 gigapascal. So both are the same material. So both E1 and E2. So pinion and gear both are having the same Young modulus of elasticity 210 gigapascal. That is 210. If it is converted into, because all the data we taken as a millimeter, that's why you should convert into millimeter. So 210 into 10 power 9 Newton per meter square. If you convert into millimeter square, that is 210 into 10 power 3 Newton per millimeter square. That is an even. And helix angle, that is a beta. It is a helical gear. Helical gear means the teeth is not cut as straight. It is cut in a helix angle. So that is beta. It consists of beta is equal to 30 degree. Our power transmitted equal to 90 kilowatt and metal 0.4% carbon steel. So these data are given in your problem. And now go to the solution. So already the procedure for gear spur is, the procedure is similar to the spur gear. So what are the procedure you follow the spur gear? The same procedure you follow in the helical gear also, but formula is varying. In the data book they given a formula for the helical gear. First you have to find out the transmission. The transmission ratio is given. From the transmission ratio we have to find out the speed of the gear, and we have to find out the number of teeth, and we have to find out the diameter of the pinion gear by using the transmission ratio. The formula is given in a data handbook 23.211. Data handbook, I refer a new data handbook. So in the equation number 23.211, they given a formula for transmission ratio N1 by N2 equal to Z2 by Z1 equal to D2 by T1. Already is given, the data is given in a problem 10. Transmission ratio is given 10. So after that already we know the speed of the pinion, that is N1. N1 already we know 5000 RPM. So from the data we found the N2 speed of the gear. N2 is equal to N1 by I. That's why 5000 divided by 10 is equal to 500 rpm. That is the speed of the gear. N2 is equal to 500 rpm. So from the data, from the transmission ratio, we found the speed of the gear. N2 is equal to N1 by I equal to 5000 divided by 10 is equal to 500 rpm. Then next one, number of teeth on the gear. So number of teeth on the gear, because in the problem they given a Z1 is equal to 25. So already we know the transmission ratio. From the formula we found the number of teeth on gear. Z2 is equal to I into Z1. So Z2 by Z1 is equal to I. So Z2 is equal to I into Z1. So I into Z1 is equal to 25 to 10, 250 number of teeth. That is the number of teeth on gear. Next, so after that, then we have to find out the material is given. So they refer the data as because we need a sigma that is allowable static stress. We have to find from the found from the table. Refer the table data handbook table 23.48 0.4 percentage carbon steel untreated. The material is given. So allowable static stress sigma both are a same material. So from the table we taken a allowable static stress sigma naught 2 equal to sigma naught 1 equal to 69.6 megapascal. So the table, the data is given for the 0.4% carbon steel untreated. You taken the value from the table 23.48 sigma naught 1, that is allowable static stress sigma naught 1 for a gear and pinion. Same material, that's why both are having the same stress value, 69.6 megapascal. So after that, formative number of teeth. Already the derivation already given a PDF notes. In the PDF notes, the derivation is written in your syllabus. They given a two derivation. One is a formative number of teeth. Another one is a Levis equation. Both the derivations are important. Then formative number of teeth formula. We know the formula ZB is equal to Z divided by cos Q beta. In the data handbook 23.285, the equation number 23.285, they given a formula for formative, that is a virtual number of teeth or formative number of teeth. ZB is equal to Z by cos cube beta. The formula is given in a data handbook. By using this formula, you have to find out the virtual number of teeth for the pinion and gear. So for the pinion, you apply the Z1. For the gear, you apply Z2. Already we know the value of Z1 and Z2. So formative number of teeth on pinion, Z1B is equal to Z1 divided by cos cube beta. Already we know the helix angle. So apply the value and get the value for virtual number of teeth for pinion and gear. That's why Z1B is equal to Z1 divided by cos cube beta. Z1 we know the value 25 divided by cos cube of 30 is equal to 38.49. And Z2B is equal to Z2 divided by cos cube beta equal to 250 divided by cos cube 30 equal to 384.8. That is a virtual number of teeth for pinion and gear, both are found. So what are the data we found? We found the speed of the gear and speed or number of teeth of the gear, and we found the virtual number of teeth on pinion and gear. So these are the basic data we found. After that, we find out the Lewis form because we should find out the weaker member. So weaker member, how to find out the weaker member? Sigma naught, that is allowable static stress, multiply by form factor, small y. So that's why we have to find out the form factor, Lewis form factor. So Lewis form factor for 20 degree stub, you taken the formula, the equation number in the data handbook, new data handbook, equation number 23.117. They given a formula for Lewis form factor y for 20 degree stub teeth, stub involute system. So small y is equal to 0.17 minus 0.95 divided by ZB. That is a virtual number of teeth. Okay. So we have to find out the, so ZB1. So we apply the value for this is apply Y1 and Y2. We have to find out the pinion and gear. Both we have to find this one because we have to find out the weaker member. That's why you should found the Y1 and Y2. So apply the ZB, virtual number of teeth for pinion and virtual number of teeth for gear. You apply the value, you get the Y1 and Y2 from this equation, Y1 and I2. If the second condition, first step, step 1, identify the weaker member. So if the both the materials are given in the same value, so same material, so in this problem, pinion and gear material are the same. If the both the materials are same, you consider pinion as a weaker member. If the both the materials are same, pinion is a weaker member. So therefore, the design should be based on the pinion. So which is the weaker member? So we design based on the weaker member only. So if the both the materials are same, the pinion is a weaker member, consider pinion as a weaker member, therefore design should be based on the pinion. So first we identify the step one, we identify the weaker member. So now we design a helical gear based on the pinion only. So step two, design. In the step two, design. So design is consider we how to consider the load. In the design, we how to consider the load. After that, module dimensions. We how to find out the based on the load, based on the module, based on the dimensions. We design the helical gear. First step, tangential tooth load. So we having the two formula. That is a transmitted load general formula. After that, based on the Lewis equation also, you having the one FT formula. First, you take a normal tangential tooth loop. So Ft is equal to formula is given in your data handbook 23.87b. In the equation number 23.87b, new data handbook, the equation is given. Find out the Ft is equal to, formula is given. Ft is equal to 9550 multiplied by n. N is a power. Cs is a service factor divided by nr. That is a n, which is based on the which base if you based on the if you design based on the gear means you put into, if you design based on the pinion means you put a n1. Here we identify the weaker member as pinion, that's why you design based on the pinion only, that's why you put a n1 r1. That is n1 is the speed of the pinion, r1 is the radius of the pinion. Already we know the formula, so r1 means that is the diameter divided by 2, so d1 by d2. So for a D1, that is a diameter pitch, normal diameter pitch, the formula is given in your data handbook 23.227. Equation number 23.227, they given a formula for diameter normal pitch. That is mn z1 divided by 2 cos beta. This is the formula for D1. So we divided by 2. So mn z1 is 25. So number of teeth for pinion divided by 2 cos 30 degree. Helix angle is given as a 30 degree. So substitute the value to get the R1 in terms of Mn. So what is mean by Mn? That is a normal module. Okay. So next, already we know the power. After that we know the speed. So R1 already we found. Then we have to find out the service factor CS. One more data. So R1, because R1 is a, okay, then FT we get the power value given in terms of SI unit, that is a watt, kilowatt, that is a SI unit. That's why you should convert but all the data, so we used we D1 we use we apply the data in mm, that's why you should convert into meter. That's why R1 is equal to 14.4338 mn divided by 1000 in terms of meter, because FT we need a unit of SI unit Newton. That's why we have convert a millimeter into meter divided by 1000. Formula is, so after that we need a service factor. From table 23.72 service factor values given. From table 23.72 service factor values given. These are the assumption data, assumed data. You take an so assume data. So you assume for electric motor or steam turbine, duration of service 12 hours per day. So we take always, if the data is not given, we take a moderate value, moderate duration. You don't take a light duty or a heavy duty. Always take a moderate shock and moderate duration. That is not a minimum hour is 8, maximum medium hour is 12 hours. After that maximum hour is 24 hours. That's why you take a 12 hours per day, moderate shock, CS equal to 1.25. So all the data are available to substitute in the FT, that is a tangential tooth loop. FT1 means that is a because we design based on the pinion only. That's why I put a 1. FT1 is equal to 9550 formula. Power is equal to 90 kilowatt. So substitute the value in terms of kilowatt only. In the data handbook they given what all the units are applied. Power you should apply in kilowatt 90 and service factor is 1.25 divided by N1 is equal to 5000 multiply by or there is R1 is equal to 14.4338 in terms of we apply in terms of meter only. R1 in terms of meter, that's why you should divide it by 1000 mm. So FT1, we got the FT1 value, that is a tangential normal tangential tooth load. This is a normal tangential tooth load value 14886.93 divided by in terms of normal model. We get the value in terms of, because we apply the by using the trial method, we find the model value. So this is a normal model. So first data is over. That is a tangential normal tangential tooth load. We find the by using this equation 9550 multiplied by NCS divided by N1 R1. By using the formula, we found the tangential tooth load. After that, by using the Levy's equation also, you have to find the tangential tooth load. So Levy's equation for tangential tooth load, the formula is given in the data handbook. 23 point equation number, data handbook equation number 23.286. They given a formula for a tangential tooth load by using the Levy's equation, that is Ft is equal to sigma naught B by Pt kV divided by Cw in multiply by cos beta. So what is meant by sigma naught? That is allowable static stress. B is a phase width. Y is a Levy's form factor. Pt is a tangential transverse circular pitch, and kV is the dynamic velocity factor. Cw is a, what is meant by Cw? Cw is a it is also one factor, that is it is related to the wear. Okay, Cw multiplied by cos beta. The formula is given in the data handbook 23.286. So you should first you find out all the values and substitute this. You get the another transmission load, tangential load. So equating the both two, you get the model value. Okay. So Ft is equal to, already the formulas, all the formula is available in the data handbook. So PT formula is available in the data handbook. Equation number 23.214. Equation number 23.214. That is a transverse circular pitch. Transverse circular PT means that is a transverse circular pitch equal to normal circular pitch divided by cos beta. So not PN divided by cos beta. The formula is available in the data handbook. Equation number 23.214. Okay. Then after that, so PT you apply in terms of Pn, that is a normal circular pitch. So sigma naught B by Pn K Pt is equal to Pn divided by cos beta. So substitute this value. So both cos beta get cancelled. So finally get the formula Ft is equal to, that is a tangential tooth load finding by using the Levy's equation. So Ft is equal to sigma naught 1, because we design based on the pinion. Why substitute 1? Sigma naught 1 B Y1 Pn Kv divided by Cw. So now next you do the value of Cw, C suffix W. The value of C suffix W taken from the table 23.47. So this is also some assumed data. So you take any value, but the procedure is you have to follow the procedure, but assumed data may you have to take any value, no problem. For a, here they consider for a scant lubrication but regular frequent inspection. So Cw is equal to, so you take a table Cw value given in the table 23.47. So refer the table and taken the value for a scant lubrication but regular frequent inspection. Cw is equal to 1.25. Okay. After we need a phase width. Here we now sigma naught is 1 already. We taken the data from the data handbook. Cw is over and P. Now we need a phase width P. So phase with P taking from the equation number 23.277. So equation number 23 point the data handbook. I referred a new data handbook. So in the new data handbook, equation number 23.277, they given a equation for phase width and 23.280. They given a two equation, phase with minimum and phase with maximum. So phase with minimum is equal to pt divided by tan beta. Formula for phase with minimum is equal to pt divided by tan beta. That is a equation number 23.277 in data handbook. And p maximum, phase with maximum is equal to 28 mt divided by tan beta. What is my bt? That is a transverse circular pitch. What is my NP? That is also transverse module. Okay, MT means T means transverse, N means normal. So the equation 23.280. Refer these two equation and write the formula for taking the phase weight. So PT divided by so minimum. So phase with this minimum PT divided by tan beta is phase width is greater than bt divided by tan beta and lesser than 28 mt divided by tan beta. Now we need a pt and mt. That is a transverse circular pitch and transverse module. So the formula is given in a data handbook. Pt cos beta is equal to pi mn. In equation number 23.211, they given a formula for. So equating this both, you get the PT in terms of normal module. So you should apply the PT value and MT value in terms of module. That is a normal module. Okay. That's why equating this two, the equation is given in 23.211. So equating this two, you get the PT value. That is a transverse circular pitch. PT is equal to pi m and divided by cos beta. You get the transverse module also is having the formula in terms of normal module. So substitute this 2 in this equation. You get a pi mn divided by cos beta multiply tan beta is equal to sin by cos. Okay, is greater than b less than 28 mn divided by cos beta. So tan beta you should apply in terms of sin and cos. Okay, so cancel this. You get a pi mn divided by sin beta is a greater than b less than 28 mn divided by sin beta. So substitute the value of pi, you get the, and sin beta, already we know the helix angle beta is equal to 30 degree. Substitute in this equation, you get a one value. 6.283 mn is greater than b is less than 56 mn. So the phase width value is within this two. It is a the maximum of 6.283 and minimum of 56 mn. Okay, that's why we take on round value b is equal to 10 mn. In b phase width we get in terms of normal module. That is a mn means that is a normal module. So after phase width is over, already we know the y1 Levy's form factor already we found. Then pn what is the formula? Pi into mn. So pn formula is pi into mn multiplied by kv. That is a kv is the velocity factor divided by cw. Already we taken the value 1.25. Substitute all the value, we get the ft1 value in terms of kv. So kv, that is a velocity factor. So velocity factor, we find out the velocity factor. We need a mean velocity. That is a vm. Mean velocity, that is a line velocity. We need a mean velocity. Already we know the formula for velocity pi d1, because why we apply, why you substitute d1, we design based on the pinion only. That's why pi d1 n1 divided by 60. We need a meter, but d1 we use a mm. That's why you should convert into millimeter divided by 1000. So d1 already known formula, z1 m1 divided by cos beta, already known value. N1 also known, speed of the pinion divided by 60,000. In terms of, we get the in terms of vm, that is a line velocity, mean velocity in terms of normal module. The value is 7.5575 mn meter per second. Okay, substitute all the value. Dynamic velocity factor formula. So we get the Ft value in terms of kV. Okay, wow. So the dynamic velocity factor kV is equal to, so in the data handbook equation number 23.290a, you get the formula for kV or CV. That is a velocity factor. Kv is equal to CV equal to 5.6 divided by 5.6 plus square root of Vm in SI unit. Okay. So substitute the all value. So kV, so Ft1 is equal to, in terms of kV, get the in terms of normal module and kV. So 69.6, that is a sigma naught, then phase with 10 mn, and after that this is a 1.4, that is a y1, then Pn, that is a normal circular pitch, pi into Mn multiplied by kV divided by Cw. Substitute the value, get a Ft, that is a tangential tooth load by Levy's equation. Okay, so get the value 254.11199 mn squared. Here 1 mn, here 1 mn. Mn squared multiplied by k. This is equation number 3. Already, so we found a 2Ft, that is a tangential tooth load by normal and tangential tooth load by using a Levy's equation. This is equation number 1. We already got the value. Ft1 is equal to 14886.93 divided by mn. Equation number 1. So another one Ft, by using the Levy's equation, we find the Levy's equation. Ft1 is equal to 254.199 mn squared. So equating this two, we find the model value. So equating this to, both are Ft, equating this to, condition is, so there is a normal tangential load always lesser than the tangential load get from the Levy's equation. That is a condition. So normal, from the normal, we get the value from the normal tangential load always lesser than the tangential tooth load get from the Levy's equation. That is a condition. Apply the condition, find the normal model value. So already equating this equation, so cross multiply, you get the value mn cube kV equal to 58.56. What is the condition? So mn cube kV value is, that is a Levy's equation. The values is getting from the Levy's equation. This is always greater than the normal tangential tooth load. So 50, this value is greater or equal, greater than the 58.564. That is a condition. So always a model value, we do the trial and error method only. We find the normal value by using trial and method. So that's why you take the, first you select the minimum value. So the standard model value is given in the table 23.3. Would refer the table to select the standard model value. So table 23.3, in the data handbook table 23.3, they given a model value, standard model value. So refer the table and select the standard model value. First you select the 3 mm. This is a minimum value. So apply this 3 mm for in this equation. So if you find the kV, you need a mean velocity. So mean velocity, already we found a mean velocity 7.5575 mn. We get the velocity value in terms of normal module. Here is substitute normal model value is 3. Okay. So Vm, we found the Vm. After Vm, we get the kV. Formula kV is 5.6 divided by 5.6 plus root Vm. So substitute the value, get the kV. So kV is 0.5404. So multiply mn cube multiply by kV, you get the value is lesser than greater than or equal to 56.56, but it's less value, 14.5099. That's why it's not suitable. This model value is not suitable. The condition is not satisfied, so it's not suitable. Next, take a standard model value. Mn is equal to 4 mm. Okay, 4 mm. Apply the 4 mm. So Vm is equal to 7.5575 mn. Substitute the mn is equal to 4 to get the Vm value. After that kV value, so then multiply by this equation mn cube into kV. So apply this value, get a 32.294. This value is also lesser than this value. Okay, so it's not a suitable. So next, go to the standard model value. Mn is equal to 5 mm. Here substitute the value in velocity and velocity factor. You get the value 59.589. This is greater than the normal tangential tooth load, that is a 58.564. That's why it is a suitable. It is the condition was satisfied, so it is suitable, and the design is safe. That is a normal model value is equal to 5 mm. So first step we found that by using this method you have to find out the, up to this step you have to, by using this step you have to find out the normal model value. In this way you have to find out the model. If once a model is get, you have to find out the dimensions. So dimensions are based on the model only. All dimensions on the based on the model only. Phase width is equal to, in terms of mn we get. So substitute the mn value, get the diameter, you get the you get the phase width. All the data we found by using the model. So first step is over. Step 1. Then after that, if you find, if the load is satisfied, go to the stress, checking for stress. So step 1, you have to find out, identify the weaker member. Step 2, if I identify the, you have to check the stress, that is a, how to check the stress, whether the design is safe or not. How to check the stress. Allowable static stress. So allowable, already we know the value for sigma naught. There is a static stress value. Multiply by velocity factor. That is a allowable static stress. You should multiply by velocity factor kV. Sigma naught 1 kV. Why you substitute sigma naught 1? Because we design based on the pinion only. Sigma naught 1 here in this problem, sigma naught 1, sigma naught 2 both are equal. But some other problem is vary based on the design value. So based on the, if you design based on the pinion means you substitute 1. If you based on the design gear means you substitute 2. So sigma naught 1 multiply by kV. So 69.6 multiply by, that is a allowable static stress. After that you have to find out the induced stress. Induced stress formula is taken from the Lewis equation. By using the Lewis equation you find out the induced stress. So already we know the formula. So from the, already we found the Ft and Cw P by Pt cos beta. Okay, all the values are known. So there is an induced stress taken from the Lewis equation. So induced stress equal to sigma naught kV equal to Ft multiply by Cw divided by B by Pt cos beta. That is equation number 23.286. So Pn is equal, that is a normal circular pitch equal to transverse pitch multiply by cos beta. This formula is already in the first page. In the helical gear first page they given the formula. So you substitute the value, you get a Ft. So substitute all the value, you get a sigma naught kV. What is the condition? That is the induced stress always lesser than the allowable stress. If the induced stress is lesser than the allowable stress, the design is safe. So substitute the Mn value. If the value get a induced stress is lesser than the allowable stress, the design is safe. So step 2 is over. So step 1 is over. Step 1, you identify the weaker member. Step 2, you checking the design the gear based on the load and stress. You design the gear. and you have to check the dimensions also. The step 2 is over. So after that you have to find out the dynamic load and wear load condition. Apply the checking dynamic load and wear load condition. In the next video I'll explain how to find the dynamic load and wear load. Thank you for watching.